Hey everyone, this amazing ESO Network show is brought to you by our fine sponsor, Amazon.com. Please remember to shop Amazon for all your geeky needs, no matter what time of the year it is. All you need to do is go to esopodcast.com/ESO Amazon, or click on the Amazon banner on the ESO Network webpage to go to our e-store. It's the best way to shop and the best way to support this program, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, that's enough of me babbling for now. Now on with your regular scheduled show.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
Hi, Joe Heath. Nice to meet you.
God damn it, Toni.
I'm Toni Heath.
Well, we gotta start from the beginning because you messed it all up.
How about I do a bit?
You do a bit after the title. That's where you do your bits.
All right.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
Am I allowed to speak now? I'm Toni Heath.
No, you gotta have energy. Come on.
Well, are you gonna say it before me?
Yeah, all right, here we go. Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Toni Heath.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
I already did my bit.
Today we're going to be talking about the third serial of the 9th season of Doctor Who, The Sea Devils, which consists of 6 episodes that aired from February 26, 1972 to April 1st, 1972. That's February to April.
Those are the months you listed, yes.
It ended on April Fool's Day. And it ends with the greatest April Fool's prank of all time. But we'll get there. True facts! And I'd like to give a special shout out to Bisexual Brigadier for getting this DVD for us. Thank you very much. I've watched most of the special features already.
Yes, thank you. The special features were fun, and I enjoy owning things.
That's not true. You hate owning things.
It's true.
I love owning
do
things.
hate owning things. I actually do hate owning physical objects. It's very stressful.
But I enjoy it, so thank you. Thanks, Bisexual Brigadier. You can follow them on Tumblr at bisexualbrigadier.tumblr.com. So what's up?
I think we're doing a podcast.
We doing a podcast? Anything going on in our lives we should be talking about?
Watching Twin
I
Peaks.
started a new job. That's pretty cool. I no longer work at Barnes & Noble. Sorry, that one listener who also works at Barnes & Noble. Yeah, we're watching Twin Peaks. It's good.
It's really good.
We're 2 episodes into season 3.
Do you feel weird because we don't have a guest to introduce? Is
Yeah.
that why you're sort of...
That's why we're rambling.
You're just waffling all over the place?
I feel weird just jumping right in. I feel like we need to get comfortable with the audience.
You gotta, invite them in.
Yeah.
Make some small talk.
Yeah, open the door, put out some treats.
Crystal bowl full of gushers?
Yeah, that's how we roll. Anyway, welcome to our house. You want to talk about Doctor Who?
Nah.
All right. Let's talk about Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about, specifically, The Sea Devils. Episode 1, which I have titled Master's Triangle. It's like Bermuda Triangle.
But it belongs to the master?
No, it
doesn't.
Yeah, but it's his triangle. It's I don't know. I'm going to warn you, none of these titles are great.
When are they?
Every other time. Hey, I did The Remains of the Day of the Daleks, and that one was pretty good.
That one was pretty good.
So we open with a ship under attack by Dutch angles and a fish hand.
You were so excited because if you know one thing about Joe, know that he loves Dutch angles.
I do. I love Dutch angles. I love villains on the Batman television series from the 60s.
Because they're always in Dutch angles?
They are. I don't know. I just feel like it adds a little dramatic flair.
Every picture he's ever taken of me has been a Dutch angle.
And they are all fantastic.
It's true. They're not.
One of them's your profile picture.
It's the best picture of me ever taken.
See? Dutch angles. They make everything look great. So, they're calling in saying, help us, we're being attacked by fish people.
And Dutch angles.
And Dutch angles. And they're like, well, all right. And that's the Navy, by the way, that they're calling in.
Guys, the Navy are in the serial a lot.
For real, too. They got, Navy peeps to be in it.
Official Navy peeps.
Which was the worst Halloween candy. Just Navy peeps.
Halloween candy.
I guess it would be Easter candy, wouldn't it?
They have different holiday peeps now because they didn't like only selling their shit during Easter. So they're like, what if we made peeps that looked like pumpkins? And
Shit is right. Peeps are nasty.
Yeah, they still are gonna taste like ass. So I don't care what shape you put them in; they're still gross.
The Doctor Who. So we get past that opening scene, and the Doctor and Joe are on a boat that is heading toward an island that has a prisoner on it. That prisoner is the Master.
Dun dun dun!
Did you ever put your laundry away?
Back. I don't see what that has to do with anything.
Did you ever put your laundry away? Did you ever get to a clear basket?
Yeah, once.
Once?
Yeah, there's another basket underneath of that basket, but I did clear out one full basket once.
That's fair. I guess that's good. For those of you who don't know, we did a bit. It involved the Master and whether or not he'd be returning, and he did, and then Toni had to do laundry, and I
didn't have to do the laundry. I had to put away my own laundry.
And she sort of waffled on it. But it's fine.
I cleared out one whole basket. And it's not my fault that you did the laundry again, and now we're right back at the beginning.
Well, the Master's returned, so get
it's
to
not
it.
an ongoing bet.
It should be.
We did the bet. I put some laundry away. Everyone's winners.
All right.
We should all be happy.
I think the next time the Master comes back, you have to do laundry. That's not even a bet. That's just, you just have to do it.
Just have to do it.
Okay.
I mean, I think I just have to put away my laundry regardless of things that are happening in Doctor Who.
But it's a gentle reminder. Oh, right. Master. Laundry.
Oh, right. Laundry. My biggest problem is that I forget that it exists.
So, and the Master is an evil guy who does evil things. And now, with this, it's sort of, you're having the Master do good things. You're turning his evil into good.
You're making it sound less appealing. I mean, it already sounded less appealing, like, not at all appealing, because it involves me putting my laundry away.
Right.
Are we ever gonna open a show, by the way, and not talk for 20 minutes about chores?
No, that's what this podcast is.
Okay.
The Watch-A-Thon.
Oh.
Because we're watching things, because they're chores. So, they go to this island, and they are picked up by a car to be taken to the prison. This car has no doors. I don't know why this car has no doors.
A lot of the cars have no doors.
I think it's the same car.
Well, no, there are multiple cars at one point.
Is it? I think it's the same car.
In one shot, I think.
We don't ever see more than one car in the same shot with outdoors. Just the one car with outdoors.
Well, why do we have the one car without doors? Where's its doors?
Someone just went, you know what? I would like to get in and out of the car at a faster pace. Fuck safety, I guess. I don't know. Is this supposed to be the future?
Is it Navy equipment?
Navy people they don't have time to fool with doors. Time. But, like, isn't the Navy mostly on sea? In boats and shit?
No.
Subs?
No.
I'm pretty sure. Navy's like the army of the sea.
No, actually, you're mistaken. It's actually
tuna is chicken of the sea.
It's actually a specific type of glue.
I thought it was a type of bean. So they arrive at the prison and they meet Trenchard, who is the prison
guard.
Warden? He's not a guard.
Warden. Yeah, Warden's he's the guy in charge. In
charge.
In charge.
I swear, neither of us is drunk. We did just watch Twin Peaks, so that counts. But
I'll put you in an altered state of mind.
He mentions that there have been...
Did you just say bentions?
No.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
You could play the tape back. And the tape... He mentions...
He mentions that there have been some ships vanishing.
In a triangle.
I don't think he says in a triangle.
But they have been.
They have been.
There are 3 ships that have vanished.
And they're all around this fort.
That's what's at the center when you, like, triangulate them. At the center is the fort.
But that's not important right now. What's important is
what happens.
We get a funny scene where the Trenchard is like, I need to see your paperwork, and the Doctor is incredibly impatient about it. And he's like, why you gotta see my papers? I'm the Doctor. And
the Doctor does not fuss with such bureaucratic nonsense.
He gives him the paperwork, and then Trenchard's like, I guess you're here to see the prisoner? And he's like, yeah, if we can get to it. Come on, move along. Hurry up with this paperwork. And this sum up of the scene. Just get on with it. He's talking to Trenchard and us simultaneously, you see. So he's like, all right, sure. But before you guys go in, let me show you that he's in here. Well, he's like, has he been giving you any trouble? And he's like, not a bit. And they're like, the fuck? He's the master.
Of course he's giving you trouble. Of course he is.
And he's like, no, he's been fine. Let me show you. Pulls him up on the screen, and he's just sitting there reading a book.
The screen, by the way, are blinds?
I think it's CSO, too, which is an abbreviation for color separation
Oh,
overlay.
shit, I never knew that.
I just want to make sure you guys know that CSO stands for color separation overlay.
Thank
which is
you
like
for this brand new
chroma key,
information.
basically, or green screen for the lay person. He says that the guards are immune to hypnotism. He's going to show them.
They demonstrate this.
Before they do, though, they turn it on, and they see the master, and the doctor's like, my word, he's put on some weight.
That is so uncalled for. You don't just go around commenting on people's weight. I don't care how evil they are. Rude. So rude. And then they actually go into the cell to meet him, and the master is exercising like he's heard, or like he knew this motherfucker is
Doctor's coming, I better work out.
Is gonna
I gotta
say
look good for
something
my boyfriend.
about my weight, like the asshole that he is.
He laughs, too, after he says it. He's like, put on some weight. Nah, ha, 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 fatty. That's basically what he does.
It's rude.
It is rude.
It's very rude.
But yeah,
no one asked for his opinion.
They show him, like, this guard comes in, and the master tries to hypnotize him, and he's just like, let me know when you're done reading that book. And then just sort of gets out of there.
Yeah.
Hypnotism doesn't work. I don't think that's... I mean, how often does his hypnotism work? It, like, works
it's like
1 out of
50.
10 times.
Oh, okay.
That's a tenth.
That's a lot less than the odds I gave. Like, significantly less.
It's like 1090. Is that how you break that up? I don't know. I don't really know what 50-50 means.
I'm sorry, what?
If it's 1 out of 10, would that be like 1090? Or 90-10 instead of 50-50?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know if anyone says that.
I mean, well, then why do they say 50-50? I guess they say that we're going to split it 50-50. The chances are 50-50. But if it's like 40-60...
40, okay.
So would it be 90-10 or 10-90?
I guess. It sounds weird and I don't like it, but I guess it's not technically wrong.
If you know, let us know.
No, I mean, it is. It's a percentage. It's 50%, 50%, 50-50.
90-10.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Alright.
Again, if you can clarify things, write in. That's what we here at the Watch-A-Thon of
There's
Rassilon
no clarification
Well,
needed.
I mean, am I saying it right? Is it 90-10 or is it 10-90? Is it either?
It's
or
either.
both dumb?
Yes,
If
both
it's
are
1
dumb.
out of if he's gotten it 1 out of 10 times, what are the odds? So yeah, they go in and the master's exercising, and they have a bit of a nice chat.
It's like a row machine.
Well, they're on the island, so there's probably boat shit.
When he's practicing his escape, you really shouldn't. Not a great choice. That's all I'm saying.
The doctor's just checking in on him and also wants to know where the TARDIS is, but the master is like, nope. He's also like, also, I'm totally reformed, by the way. I've got a lot to repent for, and I'm doing that here in this prison. Thanks for putting me in here. It's really helped. Thanks. I'm not evil.
Spoiler alert.
Question, though. Was that scene of him hypnotizing the guard pre-recorded footage? Or was he doing it just then? Because if he was doing it just then, that sort of says, you're still evil.
No, he was doing it just then. Obviously, he's lying.
It didn't take him that long to go from that room to the other room, and he was already in, like, his exercise equipment. And exercising. I don't know. Anyway, he's like, I'm not going to tell you what the TARDIS is, but please do come back.
And
chat, because Trenchard is a bit of a
lonely.
dullard, and you're fun to talk to. I like you, Doctor. Let's hang out. And the Doctor is like, all right, and goes to shake his hand, and then doesn't, and waves. Sort of like, no, bye.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that. It felt awkward.
I mean, he's probably like, you got a fucking, like, joy buzzer in your hands?
It's probably safer to just...
I mean, you're the guy that called me once and the telephone cord strangled me. I can't trust a handshake. So they leave, and the master gets back in his rowing machine and starts evilly cackling.
Like you do when you're reformed.
And it's at this point that the doctor is, like, talking to Joe, and he's like, we used to be friends a long time ago.
Is this the first time that's been said?
Did they used to be friends?
Like on screen?
A long time ago? A long time ago, we used to be friends, but I haven't thought of you lately at all. I may have said they've been friends, but this is the first time, I'm pretty sure it's the first time he said that they were They went to
They
school
were classmates.
together.
It's something that I knew, but had not yet seen the first instance of.
So then Trenchard comes in and is like, I need to see your paperwork again before you leave. And the doctor's like, why? Why is this my life? What is happening? And then they leave. Trenchard goes back to the master and is like, haha, they bought that. We're totally in cahoots, old buddy, old pal. But Trenchard isn't evil.
He's just been lied to, and maybe a little bit mind-controlled, probably.
And maybe a little bit of a dipshit.
Yeah, he might just be a little bit run-of-the-mill, not so bright.
The master gets mad at him because he's like, oh, I told them that ships were vanishing. And he's like, why? Why would you're just going to make him interested in this place, and he's going to stick around? And he's like, nah, he didn't seem too interested. But he is.
Is not even true. In the scene, he's like, oh yeah, we've had disappearing ships. And the doctor's like, really? Tell me more. So, he's a liar.
Then the master is like, all right, it's fine. But you think maybe you could get another TV in here? You know, in the bedroom?
Color one, obviously.
TV? It's like, yeah, sure, you big weirdo. Cut to the doctor immediately asking, like, hey, what about those vanishing ships you guys got? What's up with that?
Tell me more.
And the guy's like, I don't know, you'd have to go to the naval base and talk to the Navy about it. I don't know what just happened to my voice. And the doctor's like, oh, right. Yeah, see, you got a boat there, and I got money. If I give you the money, give me the boat. And go keep an eye on Joe, because just make sure she's all right. He's basically abandoning Joe to go off on his own solo mission.
Only a little. But it's fine, because Joe pays the exact same guy money to get a moped. I don't know how she gets to the island on the moped, but she does.
I don't know, that is very odd. But, like, yeah, the doctor drives his boat straight to the naval base, goes up on shore where he's not supposed to be.
He just walks in, and people are, like, yelling at him and, like, pointing guns at him, and he's like...
He's got, like, he's, like, examining a lifeboat with a magnifying glass, and they're like, hey! And he's like, oh, hello. Take me to your commanding officer. Thanks.
And they, of course, demand his papers, and he's like, I don't know, Joe has them. I don't carry papers. I don't deal with that nonsense.
I'm the doctor.
And they're like, what's a Joe? Where is she? And he's like, oh yeah, I abandoned her. But she does. She shows up at the base with the papers.
I don't know how she got there. But it's funny, like, he goes into the base and just, like, immediately starts acting like he owns the place. There's a bit where he's like, let me show you something. He's like, oh yeah, take a seat. Says the doctor to the guy whose office he is in. It's like, you asshole.
It's a little delightful, though.
It is.
Actually, it's a lot delightful. It's delightful.
But let's take a second and tell you why the master wants a TV. He gets a TV, he turns it on. There is a children's program on. Looks like Rats on the Moon. I saw what the name of it was on Wikipedia, but I've since forgotten.
I imagine it's something that was well known at the time.
I don't know. I think it's called, like, The Clangers. Possibly. The Clampers. Something like that. It's like a stop-motion, claymation, like,
he has the most
rat thing.
bemused look on his face. Like
he starts whistling along with it, too.
He's so happy about it.
Because it's like the little rats are making these noises, like... And, like, he starts, like, whistling along with it. And then Trenchard comes in and is like, what you watching? He's like, I think it's an interesting, like, display of extraterrestrial life form. And he's like, it's puppets, man.
It's puppets. It's puppets for kids. He's like,
oh. And then he, like, looks super disappointed that it's a kid's show.
That is probably the best scene in the serial.
Yeah.
And I was like, Joe, you have to gif that, and you have to put that next to the master watching Teletubbies, which I'm just now realizing is probably a callback to this episode.
It most definitely is, yeah. I wonder if he does it all the time. Just watches kid shows and is
delighted
amused
by them.
Yeah. Also, that scene almost didn't happen. The episode was running short, so they filmed an extra scene, and it was that scene.
That's delightful, because it's so weird.
I think it's because there was supposed to be a scene of the doctor on the jet ski or something at the beginning of the episode, and the weather wasn't cooperating, so they didn't actually get to film it, so they came up a little short. Because Trenchard says they're late, and that's why. It's because the doctor was fucking around. But it led to that awesome scene with the master watching space rats. But Trenchard brings him some maps, and that's when he's like, here's that triangle, and this is the fort, and that's where stuff's gonna happen. Well, there's some maintenance guys on that fort, and they're playing poker, and they hear something. It's a sea devil.
Yep.
He goes to...
Sure is.
It is. It's the Sea Devil. He dies. This guy, one of the guys dies. The other one just freaks out. Let's describe.
Okay, so here's the thing about the Sea Devil. Do you see all of them in the first episode?
Not at this point, but yes, you do.
Okay, they're very turtle-like. They look like sea turtles.
Are they turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Turtle.
It's a terrible movie.
Yep. Here's the thing about them. So... the way that they're designed is that, like, the turtle head is on top of the actor's head. So they have these really long necks, and that's where the actors' heads are. They wear this blue netting that from a distance looks an awful lot like scrubs. The thing about the neck is that it comes out too far, so that it looks like somebody's head is there. And they're wearing, like, a hat with a turtle head on it.
I mean, they are.
Right, but I shouldn't know. I mean, it shouldn't look like that, you know? I feel bad criticizing it when the heads themselves look amazing. And you know, like, making that took all the time and the money, and then it was like, oh, shit, throw a body on it kind of thing. Because the heads look really cool, and if it had been executed a little bit better, I think they would look really tall. They do sometimes. Sometimes they're more convincing than other times. The masks, I mean, like, the masks themselves look amazing.
It's just the bulging neck that doesn't look too great.
Yeah.
I don't like their little blue smock thing either. I don't know.
You were watching the special features. Was it one of the designers?
It was the director who was like, I don't want them to be naked. So they're like, here. And they cut up a net and threw it on over and said, ta-da, done. I think I'd prefer them to be naked. I mean, the Silurians were naked, which, by the way, these are basically sea versions of the Silurians.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like the same race, but different evolutions. And they evolved to live underwater, which, that's great. You have 90% of the Earth already anyway. That's, what is it, 70? How much of the Earth is covered in water,
90,
Joe?
10.
90-10.
I don't know. If you know how much of the Earth is covered in water, please write in to Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
All I'm saying is, if you are an underwater creature who is living just fine underwater, stay there. You already have more of the Earth than anyone living on land. You're already winning. Congratulations. You want a bunch of dirt for anyway.
So back at the Navy, the naval base officer guy sort of pushes Joe and the doctor out of his office because he doesn't want to deal with them and says, please leave. Which means they head directly for the fort. And they climb up the ladder, and Joe does this shimmy up the ladder that is so ridiculous. And I was like, does she not know how to climb a ladder?
It looked like she had never climbed a ladder in her life. So Joe looked it up.
And she climbs ladders later and is fine.
Like a person.
But it turns out it was not Katie Manning. It was a guy dressed up like Katie Manning because it was very, very slippery. So he was
one
a
of the
stunt
doubles.
And so that's him shimmying up. And it's very slippery. He's just trying not to fall off.
I think that the other thing, too, is he's in heels. So it's slippery, he's in heels.
And he can't show his face.
And he can't show his face, so he has to do this shimmy up the ladder. And it looks very silly.
But they get into the fort and they start looking around. But a hand comes into the boat. A fish hand.
Do you know what, though? Since we were talking about heels, I just would like to take this opportunity to point out that Joe's pantsuit's very nice.
Well, thank you. Oh, you're talking about hers.
She looks good in it.
She does. This is a good outfit. This is the second serial in a row where Joe has just been all around awesome.
Yeah! I was so
really
excited, you guys. Joe gets to do things, and that makes me happy.
And also, looks good doing it.
Okay.
No, just saying. Her outfit looks good, and she does a lot of cool stuff in this series.
Yeah, but it's weird when you say it.
Fair enough. But they get in, and their boat explodes and is gone. And they're like, we're stranded here on this fort.
My favorite thing that he says about the boat is that he's like, it's got lines that go this way, which means it was heated from the bottom.
Oh, yeah, that's what he was examining when he was examining that lifeboat from the ship that sank.
Yeah.
And is because the sea devils are heating the boats up from beneath, and that's how they sink. But they go around. The place is empty, but they eventually find the dead guy, and there's definitely a sea devil on there somewhere. And then they hear something coming towards them, and they're like, "Oh no!" And that is the end of episode 1.
Hooray!
And we are now into episode 2, which I have called The Sea Silurians, which I didn't realize was the original title for this serial. And they changed it to Devils because they thought it sounded cooler.
So the title you came up with was vetoed by the actual show.
You know what? Yes. But it turns out that the thing following them is not a sea devil. It's the other guy in the fort. The other guy that was playing checkers and poker and stuff. And he's freaking out. And he's like, devils, sea devil. I saw, it was a reptile. It was a turtle. It was, And they take him.
That was pretty much verbatim.
And they take him to like a bed and start putting medicine in him. The doctor is putting medicine in him. And at the same time, saying some shit about radios that I don't know if it's true or not.
What was he saying about radios?
There is a radio there. They're looking for radio.
Oh, he was talking about making a transmitter out of a receiver.
Yes.
No, I don't think any of that was legit.
Are you sure? How much do you know about radios? If you know something about radios, please write in and tell us if what the doctor said was accurate or not. If you can turn a receiver into a transmitter. I feel like you probably could.
Maybe, but
you know
probably
how, like,
not the way that, like, probably what he was saying was gibberish.
It's like headphones. If you, like, plug it into the microphone port, can't you use, like, headphones as a microphone?
No.
Or is it the other way around? You can use a microphone as a headphone. No, it's definitely you can use...
You can't do that.
Yeah, you just speak into the headphone.
What are you talking about?
It does something weird like that. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. If I'm talking bullshit, please write in.
No one has to write in. You're talking bullshit.
No, I don't think so. If you plug in a headphone into the microphone jack, you can use it as a microphone.
No.
I mean, not a good one.
No.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
God, I vaguely remember something like that happening once. Yep, I'm pretty sure. I'll Google it after this.
No, Google it right now. Pull it up. No, pull it up.
It's going to trust me.
No, I just want you to Google it because you're speaking nonsense.
How to use your headphones as microphones. Boom.
What?
Headphones.
But they aren't microphones.
Are microphones. Both devices trade in vibrations. This is the headphone. The speakers vibrate to create sound, while microphones monitor vibrations from sound in order to record it. Yep, you can plug your headphones into a microphone jack. So there you go. I wasn't bullshitting.
That sounds wrong, but he just read it off the internet, so it must be true.
It must be. It was Mary Sue. That's where I get all of my science information. So, where were we? So they give that guy medicine and he goes to sleep. Then the doctor goes around and he sees the sea devil, tries to talk to it, and the sea devil just shoots at him because he don't care. He's got it's like a big...
It looks like a Walkman when he's not using it. It's the silver
disc.
disc.
Handheld like Walkman gun.
Yeah, it's a silver disc. When they're not using them, they're on their hips in like this little fanny pack thing, and it shoots, I don't know, heat beams at people.
Yeah, because the doctor runs back into that room and blocks it off, but they start shooting the door and melting it. It was really cool. It looked really cool, right?
Do you have any other descriptions besides cool?
No, it looked really hot because it was melting the
right.
door. Also, when he's running away, they go down into this one hallway that is super Dutch angled. Like, way Dutch angled. Like, really bad Dutch angled. It looks like they're just about to fall down. This is so Dutch angled. But they start melting the door, and the doctor hooks some shit up to it. I don't know what. From the power supply, the sea devil reaches in to, open the door and gets electrocuted. And then runs off, and then they start chasing the sea devil back through the super Dutch angled hallway. But the sea devil gets away. So the doctor is like, all right, I'm going to do that radio thing now. Tries to make a transmitter out of a
receiver. Which
is probably very possible, because Toni doesn't know shit. It doesn't. He's like, I can make this work perfectly. And it goes, pfft.
Yeah, it explodes a little bit. A tiny bit.
And then he's like, I'll work on it some more. And at this point is when the Doctor Who team had received enough letters about how there's no way the Silurians would have come from the Silurian era that the Doctor addresses it here and says, the person who called them Silurians probably got it wrong. There's no way they're from that area. It's more like this era.
Wasn't he the one who called them, said that they were from the Silurian era?
Well, no, he read it on some papers.
Oh.
And he says they're probably from this era, which is also not true.
What was it? The
Eocene, I think? Something like that. Eoscene. So I want to say.
Okay.
Either way, they couldn't have possibly came from that era either.
Why?
So I don't know. Science. I think there wasn't any.
They couldn't have possibly come from any of them because they're lizard people.
I know, but there wasn't any humanoid creatures in that era.
Gotcha, I gotcha.
So, Doctor got it wrong twice. But yeah, they're sea Silurians. But the Doctor finally gets the radio working, calls out a mayday. A helicopter arrives. Meanwhile, the Master is getting ready to start his evil plans, which involves putting on a captain's hat, which is great.
Yeah.
So they're going to sneak the Master into the naval base under a blanket. They drive in with their doorless fucking car.
Why does it make you so angry?
There's no doors. The Master is hiding under a blanket, and yet they still sneak into the naval base. This does not make the Navy look very competent. But they get in. The Master just salutes some dudes because he's wearing his captain's hat, and everybody just believes he's the captain.
To be fair, didn't they do that in real life?
Yeah.
Filming the episode?
That's true, that does happen. They wouldn't let an actor shoot this one gun thing. They were like, well, who are we going to get to do it? And the actor himself came up and was like, I'll do it. And he's pretending to just be a captain. They're like, yes, sir. And he's like, well, which button do I press? And they're like, it's this one, sir. And it was the actor. Navy, get your shit together. If you work for the if you work for the Navy, no offense, man. These guys were from the 70s. You're way better now. 70s Navy can suck it. No. No?
No.
Look, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Nobody's sucking anything.
So, the Doctor is back at the naval base and trying to be like, I want to go back and I want to talk to the Sea Devils and I think we can negotiate peace. And then, at this point, Trenchard comes in and is like, talking to the naval base officer, like, hey, are we gonna do a golf? We were gonna do a golf. Are we gonna do a golf? I just think if you don't do a golf, that would be really sad, and we should do a golf. You said we were gonna do a golf. You should do a golf. And I'm like, why is he talking so much about golf? It's because, you see...
Why is it?
It's a distraction.
What?
Because the Master is stealing shit.
I like the way he steals it, too. So he gets caught, but he's got his hat. And so he's stealing supplies, and he's like, don't you know you have defective supplies in here? How dare you? And the guy's like, I'm not buying this.
Let me see your paperwork. He's like, so-and-so's getting my paperwork. I just got here. It's like, well, let me call him and check. No, so I am the Master, and I'm going to hypnotize you. And it doesn't work, so he karate chops him. 1 out of 10. 90-10. So Trenchard is like, well, I guess I'm done with my golf now that my time's up. Gotta go. And he goes to shake, and everybody's just annoyed with him. And he goes to shake Joe's hand.
And she denies him.
Denied. What? This serial is all about denied handshakes. And he leaves, but Joe goes to the window and sees the Master. She's like, Doctor, look, the Master. And he comes and doesn't see him. She's like, he was just there, I swear it. And he's like,
guess what?
Oh my God, you guys.
He believed her.
What?
Yeah, he didn't see it, but she saw it, and he didn't go, oh, you must be mistaken. He was like, oh no, the Master must be out. Probably because, it's the Master, and of course he is.
Right. But that's a first, I feel like. That never happens on this show. He's sound an alarm because the Master's here. But they get out right before the alarms go off. But they find the guy that was karate chopped, and they question him, and he's like, there was this guy that had, a really dumb goatee. And they're like, was the Master. And then the Doctor's like, you know what? I bet Trenchard is in cahoots with the Master. Let's go back to the prison and deal with this. Then the next shot is like a golf ball going across the floor into a cup. But the music cue made it sound like it was some kind of weird electronic golf ball. It wasn't, it was just the music. But
speaking of the music,
amazing.
So good.
Apparently, this serial was going over budget, and in an effort to save money, they did not hire their normal composer to do this. They just shopped it out to the BBC Radiophonic Workshop or whatever, and it's an all-electronic score, and it's
delightful.
Awesome. They should just do that all the time.
Every time, and they should have magic, sci-fi sounding golf balls forever.
It was so good. Though occasionally it sounded like Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, there is one piece of music that the first 2 notes were the first 2 notes of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And
then it would just go whatever.
And we noticed it every time.
Kudos to the person who did this music, whose name I've immediately forgotten. Thank you. Apparently it's very well-known music too. They've released it a bunch of times. They played it at some concert thing.
Because it's amazing.
Great. Yeah. But yeah, they're like, where's the master? And he's like, he's fine. Look, let me turn on the blinds. He's right here. Calm down. And he's like, well, I'll go check on him. And he leaves, and the doctor's like telling Joe to call unit and get the people replaced. Get the people that are running this prison replaced, because clearly the master has hypnotized them and shit. So he goes to talk to Trencher goes to talk to the master, and the master wants to talk to the doctor. And so Trencher's like, alright, I'll go get him. And while he's out, the master puts this thing in the air vent. Puts like a towel or something.
Yeah. This plan is...
I don't understand why he even needs to do this plan. He's like got everybody there wrapped around his fingers.
Right. So he purposefully jams the air vent, calls in a guard to look at the air vent, and then karate chops him?
And steals his knife, and presumably his gun.
But why couldn't he just lie? Why did he have to actually clog the air vent?
Good question.
Or why didn't he just ask for a gun and a knife?
He's very method. Meanwhile, as Trenchard is coming back, the doctor has decided to put on a blindfold and play golf. He hits the musical golf ball right into the cup, because the Trenchard missed on his opening shot. And the doctor does it blindfolded, because he's got to one-up everybody.
Just to show off.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to do it.
Yeah.
Especially with a blindfold. What an asshole. And then Trench is like, the master wants to talk to you. So the doctor goes to talk to the master. Then while the doctor's left, he notices Joe's gone, and Trenchard calls the guard and says, don't let Joe leave. But we get into the master's cell room, bedroom, palace. I don't know.
The prison that he's in does look an awful lot like a castle.
The master has a gun, and the doctor's like, goodbye, and immediately shuts the door and runs away. Well, he doesn't run away, but he shuts the door, and that was really funny. But the master comes after him, and he's like, the doctor's hiding around a corner and kicks the gun out of his hand. And then there's swords?
Yeah, so we're watching it, and right outside of his cell, there's just the stand with swords in them. And I'm like, okay, why are there weapons outside, like just outside of your prisoner's cell?
And I said, because shut up!
Because this scene is happening and it's awesome, that's why.
They start sword fighting, you guys, and it's awesome.
It's a pretty good action scene.
They're sword fighting, and the doctor runs through this, like, curtained area, and the master just starts slashing at the curtains, but, like, the doctor has looped back around and is just standing behind him, like, leaning against the wall, being like, you idiot. Those curtains, you're gonna have to pay for them. I don't know, he says something pithy. And they fight some more, and they get thrown back into the master's room over this table, where there's a sandwich there, and the doctor just, like, violence makes me hungry, and, like, he starts eating the sandwich. It's so good. And then, like, I don't know, the master, like, gets on top of him. He says something. He's like, the doctor's like, wait till you see my fancy footwork. And, like, kicks him off of him.
The master says something like, you're good, but you're not good enough. And he says, you haven't seen my footwork, and kicks him.
And the master goes over the table, and he gets up, and he pulls the knife out that he stole and throws it. And that's the end of episode 2.
You guys know what the beginning of episode 3 is?
Which I've called The Dock. Because it's like The Rock, the movie The Rock, where they have Alcatraz, and it's a prison island.
This is your worst one yet.
It really is. It's bad. It's very bad. But yes, how does episode 3 start?
We get to see that whole scene again. The entire fight scene.
From the swords on, yeah. It's so good. And I do not mind. I'm like, thank God. I love all of this. And then we get to the knife, and he throws it, and he missed. He gets right next to his head. And then Trenchard comes in, and the master's like, he was trying to kill me! And take him away! And so they take the doctor away.
Yeah, that works too easily.
Like, why does he have a knife next to his head? Self-defense! Where did you get the knife? Listen. You put swords outside my room. Maybe I took it from the doctor. Maybe. So Joe is getting out. Trencher has been told to keep Joe and the doctor as prisoners. But Joe has just went outside, and the guard's trying to stop her, and she throws one of the guards into another guard and gets away. Joe is badass. Also, there's all this talk about how great the security on this island is and how you can't escape. But Joe just, like, freely walks around this place.
She's just hiding behind, like, a giant bale of hay at some point. And I'm like, a really great prison with really great security probably doesn't have random bales of hay. Just right at, like, person height.
And so it's also at this point that we see the Master is working on a device. And we don't know what it is yet. But he's up to some sneaky shit because he's the Master. Okay, so he said, take the Doctor away, keep him prisoner. And at this point, he's like, I'm going to talk to the Doctor. Then why did you send him away?
He did. He sent him out of his cell only to call for him back. And what does he do? What does he ask of the Doctor?
Help.
Hey, if you wanted to, maybe we could work on this science project together. This science project that will destroy the world because I'm the Master.
Oh, there's a great scene too because they bring him in and he's cuffed with his hands in front of him. They sit him down in his chair and they uncuff him and he's like, oh, thank you very much. And then they recuff him behind the chair and he's like, well, no, thank you very much.
I think the line is like, how very nice of you.
And how very not nice of you?
Yeah.
The Doctor's like, I've told Unit everything. You're too late. And the Master's like, no, you rushed into all this shit. I know you're lying. But the Master reveals his plan, which is that he wants to get in touch with the Sea Devils because they were once the rulers of the Earth, and he will help them be so again. It's the Master teaming up with, like, the big bads and,
Do you know what's frustrating about the Master?
He's in a vicious cycle.
Yeah, I want him to learn from his mistakes. He's like an addict that just can't help himself of just doing the same plan over and over again. Like, I wonder how this will go.
That never goes good. Trenchard needs to talk to the Master, so they leave, and the Doctor's left alone. Jo is, like, just walking around this place, sees the Doctor through the window. She starts miming a plan to the Doctor, and it's so cute. And the Doctor's just like, yeah, okay.
Good plan.
Good plan. I couldn't understand her miming, but it did also remind me a lot of...
Partners in Crime?
Partners in Crime, thank you, with Donna and the 10th Doctor. So that gif set's probably up too. So the plan is the Doctor starts yelling for the guard. The guard comes in. Jo sneaks in behind the guard and hides behind the door. And
she literally sneaks right in front of this guy. These people suck.
Navy? It's not the Navy, I guess.
This isn't the Navy. This is the prison. It's unrelated to the Navy.
Navy, you're okay in this circumstance. It's a prison, island prison. Get your shit together. So once Jo snuck in, she uses her escapology and uncuffs the Doctor. Once she gets him uncuffed, there's a new plan, which is the Doctor calls the guard in again. He's like, what's going on? And Jo just, like, crouches down behind him, like on all fours, and the Doctor headbutts him over the guard over
Jo.
And, like, he hits his head and they leave.
Skillfully executed plan.
Meanwhile, the Master's device is almost done, which is, he says, is a way to communicate with the enemy, who would be...
Okay, so here's the thing. The Doctor has lied to the...
Trenchard?
Yeah, he's lied to Trenchard and said that the people sinking the boats are enemy combatants. And he, at no point has told Trenchard that they're not aliens, are they? They're terrestrial. Sea monsters.
Sea turtles.
Sea turtles with ray guns.
You might say a sea devil.
Oh, you might.
Okay, so the device that the Master says he's making is to communicate with them because it's made the same way as their communications devices. He's lying. So, meanwhile, we sort of skimmed over this, but the Navy has sent out a submarine to the fort to go examine it, and it has just gotten to the fort, and then the sub's basically... It's acting like it's perfectly fine. It says it's fine, but it sinks straight to the bottom. All systems are operational and fine, but they can't move. And it's just sunk to the bottom of the seabed. They start hearing banging on the hull. Things are coming in through escape hatches, I guess. It's Sea Devils, you guys, in case you didn't know. But
hey, guys, there are Sea Devils in this.
So the Master activates his device, which what it really does is call the Sea Devils. They're chasing the Doctor and Jo, and they climb down a cliff with some very convenient ropes, and they get out onto the beach. And the guards show up in their doorless car, so they can't go that way. The Master is behind them, and the Sea Devils are coming out of the sea, and the only place they have to go
is the minefield.
The minefield. That is the end of episode 3. We are now into episode 4, which I've called the Diving Bell to Hell. So they go into the minefield while the Sea Devils just start a shootout with the prison guards, much to the annoyance of Trenchard, because the Master's like, yeah, I did this, and he's like, what? They're killing our guys, you idiot. Okay, so the minefield has, like, barbed wire. And the doctor just face plants right into it to let Joe crawl over. Like, wouldn't that hurt him?
No, because of special Time Lord reasons.
And she's like, how do we know where the mines are? Guess what he uses to find it, you guys?
He uses the Sonic.
It has a mine detecting thing. I feel like this is the beginning of the screwdriver doing shit that's not unscrewing screws. Because he uses it a lot in this serial.
He does.
And I think it's new. It's got like a little slidey action to it. I feel like they just got a new prop and they're like, oh, we gotta use this for everything. So he's using it to get through the minefield. The Sea Devil starts coming this way and Joe's like, what do we do? And he's like, oh, it can also set off the mines. He starts blowing up the ones they've already passed and it scares off the Sea Devil.
Wouldn't you have done that? Like, wouldn't you have just cleared a path?
I mean, you want to get away from them.
But I'm just saying, like...
It's probably only one. It only could blow up the ones they'd already passed because it was in its settings. Listen, I don't know. They blow a few up around the Sea Devil and he runs off back into the sea. And that shot takes like 50 years. That was the slowest part of this episode. It's just that Sea Devil running back into the sea. It cuts back to the Doctor and Joe like making their way through the minefield again. And like there's no danger anymore. And then it cuts back to it still like running into the sea. I was like, just go to the next scene. So the Sea Devils have infiltrated the sub, and they're now, like, trying to tell the sub people where to go. They've sort of taken over the sub. And the Doctor and Joe make it back to the base to report in about what they've seen.
Then the worst scene happens, Joseph. Somebody brings Joe a plate of sandwiches, which are for Joe. They belong to Joe. They are her sandwiches.
The Doctor's like, how can you think about food at a time like this? And takes them from her.
Takes her sandwiches and eats them. He doesn't finish them. He gives them out to other people.
Including the person who brought the sandwiches in. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, did you want a sandwich? Did you want a sandwich? And then the sandwiches are gone, and he turns to Joe and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Like, what? Rude.
That's messed up.
He does hand her the empty plate, though. Like, deal with that.
Yeah, do something with this. Although I must say, I'm delighted by the amount of sandwich eating in this cereal so far.
They're always, like, cut into, like, little triangles.
Yeah, somebody's always cut the crust off of them. Always good sandwiches.
He just ate a sandwich on that island.
Yeah,
too.
it was not that long ago since he last ate a sandwich. Joe hasn't eaten. This is not the first time that sandwiches have been stolen.
Well, there was the sandwiches stolen from Benton.
From Benton. It's a thing. It's a bit somebody really likes writing.
So, the sub is heading for the island. That's where it wants to go. Is it Prison Island, I guess? Or is it to the fort? I don't remember. Who cares? So the Master is trying to get the Sea Devils to him.
Yes.
So the Sea Devils beach at the island where the prison is. They take out some of the guards and the phones. Trencher gets a gun because he's getting ready to fight. Alarms are going off. Sea Devils are shooting everybody. And
Trencher, by the way, is really mad at the Master for lying to him. He's like, you told me these were enemy combatants. And he's like, if I had told you that they were sea monsters, would you have listened?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, gonna go take out the Sea Devils, and he rushes out to him, but he dies. He gets killed by the Sea Devils. In the novelization, he apparently pulls the trigger on his gun, but the safety was on, and then he gets dead.
That's sad.
So then the Navy officer and the Doctor go to the island, finds Trencher dead, and then I guess the place is empty, and I guess they've taken the Master, the Sea Devils have. And the Doctor's like, I want to investigate that seabed near the fort where all this shit's happening. So they get onto this big boat, and the Doctor's like, he's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to dive down there. And they're like, are you a trained diver? And he's like, of course I'm a trained diver. Duh, I'm the Doctor.
They know everything there is to know about anything.
So they get this big diving bell. The Doctor gets inside of it. They drop him down, and a Sea Devil peeks into the porthole, and he's like, oh no. And they're like, bring it back. And they pull the diving bell in.
And it's empty. What?
Bum, bum, bum. And that's the end of episode 4. We are now to episode 5, which I've just lazily called Battleship.
I feel like there was a time when, like, you gave a damn.
Well, do you have any better titles?
This isn't my thing.
Battleship. So then we get that entire diving bell sequence again. Not as fun as the Master and the Doctor. Yeah. Basically, the Sea Devils have taken the Doctor inside of this giant yellow weird thing that's awesome.
I don't know how to describe it, but
they put him
does
inside,
have googly eyes on the side of it.
They put him in like an oversized sentient Twinkie.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
That thing's never really explained.
No, and it like shows up again and you're like, look, the thing! And I'm like, yep, what is it?
The Master is all like, ha ha ha, it's that yellow thing. I've tricked you. And we don't know what it is. That's way later. But now we get a new character. Here in episode 5, I guess they got rid of Trenchard, so they had to bring in some other sort of wacky guy.
I hate him. He's the worst. Oh my god. He just comes in first of all, and there's this one female officer.
Blythe. Her name's Blythe.
Her name is Blythe?
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Blythe, and he's just like, hey, you're a woman, go get me food. And she's like, what the fuck? No. Only she can't be like that because he's important, so she has to just go get him food, and it makes me angry.
And throws his coat at her.
Yeah, just, ugh.
Man, this serial is kind of a little bit, what's the word, fat-phobic? Is that what you'd call it?
There's some instances of that.
Because the Doctor's like, ha-ha, Master's getting chubby. And then there's this guy who's clearly designed to be the worst person possible. And what's like his main trait? He eats a lot of food. And it's disgusting.
Oh, it is. It's particularly gross when he's eating.
Like, well, we got, you eating, and just go to the, and you're like, stop. But it's mostly because he's rude.
Rude as fuck. He's the worst. Basically, he's there to wage war. It took some convincing that the Sea Devils exist, but at this point, everyone's pretty convinced. So,
let's blow them up.
Let's blow them up. That's what we do. That's how we solve problems here at UNIT.
This isn't UNIT.
This is UNIT.
Which, let's talk about that for a second. This is the second serial in a row without the Brig.
Yeah.
I miss the Brig.
Where's the Brig?
Come back, Brig. We miss you. Can't have two big military forces in one serial, I guess.
I suppose.
Meanwhile, the Sea Devils want the exact same thing. We find out that they also did that thing where they hid away because they thought there was going to be a catastrophe, and that didn't happen, which is the same thing that happened in Silurians. But they're like, we want to retake the planet, we're going to blow people up, and we're going to take over the planet again. And the Doctor's like...
Again, they already have most of the planet.
Exactly, and that's basically what the Doctor says. He's like... There's no need for war. Just inhabit the places that humans can't inhabit. Like, the sea, where you live, where you've been living. We can get along. There's no reason to blow each other up. And the Master's like, no! Because the Master's there. He's like, he's just trying to trick you. You guys, you gotta get your rightful place. And it sort of becomes like the Doctor and the Master are sort of trying to get the Sea Devils onto their side. Oh yeah, see, and also I got a note here where it says Walker wants to blow him up, and there is a slow zoom into his mouth.
And it takes 100 years to zoom into his mouth, and it's the worst thing. And it made me so uncomfortable.
But the Doctor finally convinces the Sea Devils, which during that scene, the Sea Devil comes up behind the Doctor and just puts his hand on top of his head, just like in his hair. Which I can't blame him. His hair looks nice.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, all right, we'll do your way. We'll try to negotiate peace.
He puts his hand on his head because he's like, I don't think he's lying. And like that lets him decide that he's not lying.
Because he's got hair foof?
Yeah, his hair feels trustworthy.
And he's like, we'll negotiate peace. And then they touch hands. They put one hand against the other.
Palms touching palms.
Very intimate.
I thought it was.
And they're like, cool, all right, so Doctor, you're going to negotiate peace, and then boom!
The friggin' Navy are just throwing bombs at him.
And then the Sea Devil's like, never mind! Kill the Doctor! Take him away, get him...
After that intimate hand-touching they shared.
And hair-touching. It's a lot of touching. It was a very touching scene. A very touching episode of Doctor Who. That's the new title. That's a good title. That's a good title. So, two of the Sea Devils take the Doctor, or maybe just one. They take the Doctor away, but the Doctor breaks free, but a cave-in happens like immediately after he breaks free, knocks out...
pretty good, the cave-in.
Yeah, it didn't look too much like styrofoam.
I was gonna say, for what I assume was foam, it didn't look very much like foam. Congratulations!
But it hits the Sea Devil, knocks him out. And the doctor comes back, and I was like, oh, he's gonna check on the Sea Devil. But no, he was just grabbing his gun, his little CD gun. So the master is like, I have a plan. We're going to pretend like this bombing worked. They
Pretend to be dead, all of you.
So a couple of them actually float to... I don't know if those were actually dead. There's some floating Sea Devils, though, and they're like, just pretend like they've won, and that'll give us an advantage for like a surprise sneak attack. Joe, at this entire time, is like, stop, don't do this. There's people there. There's the sub-people. The doctor's probably there. Don't blow them up. But no one cares, especially not Walker. Walker is the food guy who's rude. The rude food dude. And so the master's like, when he says, here's my plan, let them go. Let them think they've won. He also does the hand thing.
I know. And, like, now I feel like it doesn't mean anything.
So the master has this plan that, because, you know, like, there's the things that revive, because they're all in, like, hibernation, all the Sea Devils and the Silurians. He's going to wake them all up. That's his plan. He's going to make this device that's going to trigger all of them and wake all of them up. But he needs a piece that they have to get from the naval base. Some electronic piece. Meanwhile, the doctor... The
Dockster.
The doctor...
The Dockster is...
Dockster.
Is when the doctor regenerates into a hip young teen. And he goes by the Dockster for a while. He has a hoverboard.
That'd actually be really cool. So the doctor finds the sub guys in their cell and shoots a hole through their door, and then they get out, and he gives them the gun because he doesn't like guns. Meanwhile, the submarine crew that are still on the submarine are playing cards and games, and one of them's like, hey, let's play this game. And the other guy's like, what? Why? And he's like, no, let's just do it. All right, I'm going to write down this thing and you do it. And he's like, that's not how you play this game. It's like, shut the fuck up. And then he's like, here, do the thing. And there's a third guy who's like, oh no, I don't feel good. And then one guy's like, what? What's wrong? Like, he does not realize that a plan is happening. They try to fight the Sea Devil, but the Sea Devil gets the upper hand. But then the submarine guys that the doctor rescued show up and just shoot the Sea Devil. Makes the doctor mad. He's like, what? No, don't just...
I am trying to make peace happen, and y'all are making it so hard.
And the submarine guy's like, I don't care, and just throws the gun over his shoulder. Like, literally throws it. I'm like, Tony's like, does no one know about gun safety?
You don't just toss a firearm.
The one Sea Devil that the doctor took the gun from regains consciousness and sets off an alarm. So the Sea Devils put up a force field that stops the submarine from leaving. But
So they just blast through the other end?
They torpedo the walls, yeah. Which is dangerous, but it works. The doctor's like, it's a risk you have to take. I mean...
I'll regenerate and I'll be fine, but, you know.
If you die, oh well. But it's fine. It works out. They escape. Joe and the doctor reunite, and it's cute because Joe's been worried. Doctor's really mad at Walker, because everybody is, because he's an asshole. The Sea Devils invade the base. That's basically it, right? That's the end of the episode.
That's the end of episode 5.
And now we're into episode 6, but I just called Over the Rainbow.
That's not even good.
No, well, it's a reference to that musical piece.
No, yeah, I know.
April Fools, that's what it's called.
Still not a good title.
Better. This is a weird podcast. So,
I'm really not convinced there isn't some sort of gas leak in our apartment. It's been a weird couple of days.
Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. A Sea Devil showed up with a gun, and the doctor karate kicks it, because...
That's how you solve your problems.
But then the Sea Devil grabs the doctor and shoulder pinches him unconscious.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And you're like, oh no, they're going to kill the doctor. But the master shows up and says, don't kill him.
That's my boyfriend.
I mean, he just did the same joke. He's like, take him as prisoners. We need him. So Joe and Walker and the naval officer are all trapped in a office room together.
Walker somehow becomes even more the worst. Because they are working on a plan. Joe's like, look at these vents. I can fit through them. Let's get me in them, and I'll go do some, be a badass. And Walker's like, oh, we shouldn't. If one of us does if one of us does a bad thing, we'll all get blamed.
Oh, don't take that door down. You'll void the warranty.
Oh, you'll make them mad. You'll make the Sea Devils mad. Don't make them mad.
Oh, don't move that desk.
Oh, no.
Just everything.
Before, he was like, let's bomb all of them. Bah, bah, bah. I don't care about anything or people's lives or anything at all.
But now that they're in the base.
Now that they're there and he can't just bomb them indiscriminately, he's very concerned about everything now. Gosh, he's the worst.
I don't remember what happens to him. I don't think he died, which is a shame.
Damn.
There's also like she's climbing into it, and the naval guy's helping push her up, and he just sort of like
he like taps her shoe like he helped.
And, okay, this is the point where the master like, I need your help finishing this device because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, like the doctor's looking at the plans and he's like, okay, this isn't even, these plans suck. Like, here are all the ways in which it's broken and dumb.
Let me fix it for you.
I guarantee you he was, like, made those mistakes on purpose. Like, just can't figure it out. Like, doctor, please open this jar for me. Because he wants to spend time with him.
So Joe gets out, finds the doctor, and he's like, I'm going to make a diversion. You get everybody out while I make this diversion. And he's like, all right, we got to test the device. And it turns on, and all of the Sea Devils start freaking out, grabbing their head and going, ah! Okay, so here's the thing. It's the doctor and the master side by side. He flips the switch. The Sea Devils immediately start freaking out. And then there's a whole scene of them freaking out. Joe runs back to the office, lets the naval officer out. Walker starts to get out. But then there's like a Sea Devil wobbling in front of him. So he goes back into the room like an idiot.
Because he's so scared he won't run past him.
And then they run to a hoverboat.
There's a hoverboat. It's awesome. And I think Joe drives it.
Yeah, because she gets in and the naval guy gets in and starts shooting at the Sea Devils that are wobbly coming up. So this a couple of scenes happens. And then the master's like, we gotta turn the device off. Even though they've been standing at it has to be like a good 10 minutes.
At least, yeah.
Time enough for Joe to rescue them, run to a hovercraft, and have a small shootout. But yeah, the device is turned off and the doctor's all like, oh, I put the input into the output. Whoops! Let me fix that. They're going to return to the Sea Devil base. Then the hoverboat has gotten more Navy guys, and they come back. And then there's more shootout. Lots of shootings.
The thing that's great about this episode is that they just sort of called up the Navy. We're like, hey, can we use all of your stuff if we make the episode about how great the Navy is? And they were like, yeah, sure. So there's hoverboats, and there's like a big... I don't even know what that cannon thing is.
I don't know, but it's awesome.
There's like a big cannon thing, and there's speedboats. It's very silly, the amount of things that there are.
I don't know what that one thing is cool, though. That's the thing. It's like, it's a car that you turn, it has like a big cannon on the back of it. That's the thing that the actor was not supposed to use, but pretended to be in the Navy to use it. But, okay, so, like, one of the Navy guys comes in and saves the doctor and is like, get out. And the doctor's like, keep an eye on the master. And then the master immediately is like, I am the master. Tries to hypnotize him, and then karate chops him because he's bad at hypnotizing people. And then he gets out. And the doctor's trying to find Joe, but finds the master running towards the beach instead. So the master gets on this, like, sea boat, this, like, fucking ski-doo thing. I don't know.
It's like a tiny
motorboat? Speedboat.
Boat.
Yeah.
It is about ski-doo sized, though.
And the doctor gets on one as well. It's bright yellow as well.
Yeah.
And the doctor starts chasing him. And there's this speedboat chase with the doctor just openly driving it. And then the master with, like, peeking over his arm because it's clearly a stunt double.
He couldn't swim, right?
I don't know. Okay, because, like, in the documentary, it said he couldn't swim. So he didn't do that chase. There was, like, he looked nervous in that scene later. But it's apparently been said that his widow said, no, he's not afraid of, it's not that he can't swim. He was afraid of getting his suit wet. Because it was the only suit he had. Costume. So I don't know who to believe.
Those both sound believable, so...
See, it sounds to me like he didn't know how to swim. And he's like, no, I totally know how to swim.
I just worried about the suit.
Yeah.
It's not like we have a lot of budget for costumes.
We spent all of our money on speedboats in the Navy. So yeah, that's when, okay, so they beach, and that's when the Sea Devils show up with that big yellow thing again. Which is I guess that's the thing maybe that's their equivalent of the diving bell. That's how they get him into their sea thing. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a giant yellow banana thing.
With eyes.
And that's what happens next is they take them back to the
Oh, yeah. So I guess it's just their...
underwater people transporter?
Yep.
Meanwhile, Walker continues to be the worst and says, you know what we should do? Nuclear strike on the Sea Devil's base. Because
he's the worst.
I feel like this is almost the same thing as the Silurians, except don't have the brig doing it because I think we've moved past that with the brig.
We're supposed to like him now, you mean?
Yeah, he's not going to do morally sketchy shit anymore. Maybe. But the Doctor continues to try to be like, come on, give peace a chance. And they're like, no. He's like, all right, fine. Let me turn on your device. And he does. Then they're like, take the Doctor away. And the Master, too.
Somehow, despite all his life experience, the Master is shocked by this.
What? You've turned on me? What? The 5th time it's happened, man. So they're both taken, and the Doctor is very calm and cool about it. And he's like, why are you so calm and chill? And he's like, oh, I reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
He said it.
It's the only time he says the full phrase in his original run. He says it again, I think, in the 5 Doctors. But this is the only time he said the entire, I reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
He did say it.
He did say it. And he's like, oh, it's going to basically explode now. Enjoy your revenge. And the Master's like, what? We're going to die. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, we can turn it off. And he's like, no, we can't. I put in something that makes it where you can't turn it off. It's going to explode. And he's like, well, we're going to die. And he's like, we could escape, buddy.
They escape together, and it's cute.
Which I feel like this is the first time the screwdriver's opened a door. It opens the cell door, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Walker's like, prepare the bombs while eating more food. Like a new set of food. He already ate today. Like a big meal, and now he's got another meal. Salmon,
I mean, there are 3 meals a day.
I guess. Still. He just keeps asking people for food. This isn't a restaurant. This is the Navy. But, like, Joe convinces them to be like, send the hovercraft over just in case the Doctor and stuff is there and they've escaped. Which, you know, they have. They're in these, like...
They're these big, orange, dimpled suits?
Flotation device suits.
You said they looked like Zygons a little
bit. They
bit.
do look like Zygons. It's that same, like, orangish red color.
The Master does not look graceful in his suit at all.
Yeah, because they get picked up by the hovercraft. Actually, both of them take forever to get into the hovercraft, but more so with the Master. And also, it seems like the Doctor is impatient and, like, shoving him into the boat. Like, come on, man. Get in the boat. And once they get in the boat, they get out of their little hazmat suit things, and the Master starts going, oh, and then faints. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with the Master? And then the base explodes. So they don't have to do the nuclear strike because it explodes. But Joe's like, it exploded because she doesn't know.
She doesn't know that they got out.
And then they call in and say, one of them passed out. And she's like, who? Who is it? Why does this keep happening to me? Like, we don't know who it is. It's one of them. The hovercraft lands on the beach, and the Doctor runs out, and the Doctor and Joe are like, yay. Then they bring out the Master on a gurney, and they're like, he's dead.
The Doctor in the hoverboat said so.
And the Doctor's like, what? And then, like, realizes that the guy carrying him is hypnotized. And they look down at the Master, and they peel off the mask, Scooby-Doo style. And it's just a guy, like, rambling something who's also been hypnotized, I guess. And then the Doctor looks back, and the Master is, like, just like, sorry, bye, and takes the hovercraft out to sea. And that's the end of the serial. It's the end of the Sea Devils. That was the scene that John Pertwee... it was either John Pertwee or I think who was like, there's not enough time for him to change outfits and put the other guy in the outfit and put a mask on. Where did he get the mask? I don't think he actually asked where did he get the mask.
But where did he get the mask? I like to think that the Master just sort of has them. Like, he has Time Lord pockets, right?
Sure.
So they're bigger on the inside. And his pockets are just full of masks. The left pocket, just masks of his own face. The right pocket, all different kinds.
What if he just has, like, a mask-making device?
Oh, maybe.
Like in Mission Impossible, you know?
No.
But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the Sea Devils. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for our final thoughts.
The Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast delivers the latest sci-fi news, plus movie and TV reviews with brilliant and insightful commentary. If you haven't listened to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast before, you will Listen to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast now.
What, you think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around like that?
Watto, I'm telling everyone to listen to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will, including you.
No, they won't. I'm a Toydarian. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money.
Okay, I don't have money, but please listen to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. Sci-fi, from a certain point of view.
We're back. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
It's time for
Final Thoughts!
I really like this cereal. This is like the second of 2 solid cereals right in a row. I said that really weird.
Yeah.
I really liked Curse of
That is the last of strong sentences.
Okay, so let me rephrase this. Okay, so there's been 3 episodes this season. The first cereal sucked, but the next 2 were amazing. Curse of Paladin was great. This one was great. And this is a 6-parter. I feel like I rarely say 6-parters are great. But there's hardly a slow moment. I mean, there are some. It's a 6-parter. But it is chock full of awesome stuff. Sometimes when we have, like, the Master or 2 different villains, like against, for instance, Day the Daleks had the Daleks and the Ogrons, it doesn't really mesh together very well. This has the Sea Devils, who aren't in it a whole lot, but they fit in nicely with what the Master is doing. It doesn't feel overcrowded. It feels like natural, and it's a really good plot, I feel like. And there's so many fun moments, so many great action sequences. There's a speedboat chase, there's a sword fight, there's the Master watching children's television. There's so much just great stuff in small moments too. A lot of comedy moments I like. Or Joe's really great this serial. She goes around, she gets shit done, she beats up a guard, she mimes a thing to the doctor. This serial is just chock full of great stuff. Oh, and the score! Oh my god, the score was so good. I loved every bit of this. I think it may be one of my top serials so far.
Okay.
And I was actually talking to Chris Cherry about this. We've been sort of meh on 3, sort of like this era so far. Like, it's a little mixed. But really, there's only been 2 bad serials out of 12.
Yeah.
Which is Colony in Space and Day of the Daleks. I'd say Ambassadors of Death and Mind of Evil were both kind of meh. I mean, they were good. They weren't great. But all the rest of them have been, like, solid. So I don't know why I feel so mixed about this season.
That's a really good question. Because, like, you were talking about, like, how great this episode was, and I was like, it was okay. I mean, but, like, as I was watching it, I was like, this is super fun. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Like, as it's happening, you're like, sword fight, yes, let's do it. Boat chase, yes, let's do it. This episode's really fun, but there's not much else to it other than that. If we were to record this podcast, like, a week from now, I'm not sure how much I could tell you about the serial. And I think maybe that's some of 3's era has that a little bit. Where you're like, as it's happening, you're like, this is great. And like a couple weeks from then, you're like, I kind of remember that serial. It was good, right?
I don't know, though. I feel like there's enough in this to remember. Though plot-wise, I guess there isn't. I mean, it's the same old Master teams up with someone.
Which is fine. Not every episode has to be like the most mind-blowing plot ever. Sometimes it's enough to just be like, oh man, look at him eat that sandwich and be a smartass. That's enough. It really is. But I wonder if maybe that accounts for it. Of like, when you kind of reflect on it overall, you're like, oh yeah, I have like a general positive feeling about it, but I don't remember much else. So it must have been just okay.
So was that your final thought? Is there anything you want to say about the serial in general?
I don't know. I feel like I've been very negative and I feel bad about it. No, it was a really fun serial. I enjoyed it a lot. And those are my final thoughts. I liked it. It was fun, but I don't know how altogether memorable it was.
But it has the Master watching children's television. And
that scene was great, and I loved it. Totally.
And hovercrafts and speedboats.
All of those things were great.
But you don't think you'll remember it? We'll find out when we do the top 16, the Sweet 16.
Yeah. I would say, as far as like emotional moments, 3's era is generally lacking.
I don't know. There was a lot of scenes of Joe being worried. That was nice.
That's true.
And the Doctor reminiscing about his past with the Master was nice. Also, this is a serial full of things that were eventually referenced in New Who.
Yeah, it is.
Teletubbies, the mime scene, probably something else.
I don't know. I really liked this serial when we were watching it. And then, like, to hear you do your final thoughts of, like, this is probably one of my tops. I was like, I don't know if I'd say that. Like, it was great for sure. But I don't know if I'd put it tops.
I guess I just enjoyed all the fun stuff. I could see it maybe not resonating necessarily on a plot or character level.
Yeah, and again, that's not to say it was a bad episode or those things make it a bad episode. Just, having a bunch of very, very fun things happening and neat ideas is enough to make it an enjoyable episode. Maybe not a top.
Fair enough.
High mid-tier.
High mid-tier. All right.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I think your opinion is valid. If you like this episode, you can check out more on Watch-A-Rassilon.com and be sure to rate and comment on our iTunes. Please do that. We really enjoy it, and it helps us out. And if you'd like to help us out even more, you can go to Watch-A-Rassilon.com/support. There you'll find a link to our Patreon page, which you can get to just by going to patreon.com/Watch-A-Thon. And there you can donate a monthly amount to get all kinds of rewards, like videos of us watching the episodes, day-early episodes, and uncut video of the podcast records, where you can see Toni waving at you.
Hello.
Also on our support page is a link to our Amazon wishlist, where you can sponsor an episode of the podcast by purchasing the corresponding serial on DVD for us. We'll mention you in the podcast and put your name on our Friends of Rassilon page, like we're about to do right here, because Bisexual Brigadier bought this DVD for us. Thank you so much, Bisexual Brigadier, for sponsoring this episode.
Yes, thank you. Do you know, I feel like I need to go back on my final thoughts now.
Why?
Because after we watched this, I was like, I'm sure glad that, like, this and Paladin are the two that we own. Paladin. That's what I said.
You said Paladin.
Well, it's because Paladin's a thing.
Yeah, you said I'm glad we own these because they're fun.
Because they're really good. So who knows what my opinion actually is.
I'm so glad people are tuning in to hear your vastly contradictory opinions on Doctor Who.
I don't know what my opinions are. I'm making them up.
Special thanks, Bisexual Brigadier. Thank you. You can follow them on Tumblr at bisexualbrigadier.tumblr.com. And tune in next time when we talk about The Mutants, which, fun fact, was the original title for the Daleks serial. Like, it actually was called that, and they changed it to the Daleks. It was called The Mutants or the Daleks, and so it's referred to as both. But now it's mostly called the Daleks because there is this serial called The Mutants.
Joe Facts!
So anyway, we'll see you then. Keep calm and wrestle on.
I love you more than any of my other children.
She doesn't have any children.
It's true.
Bye!
You see, before you reactivated it, I reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek. Classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.